Over 30 years ago, a love story touched the world. It was about two strangers who found each other in the most unexpected way. In a city built on dreams, wealth, and secrets. That story ended with a promise. But promises have a way of following us through time. Dark, slow piano keys play as the screen fades from black to shimmering city lights. The glow of Beverly Hills streets at night flickers across glass towers. A blurred limousine passes, its headlights stretching across the wet road. In the background, we hear faint echoes of laughter, memories of a romance once celebrated. A single red high heel steps onto the sidewalk, a symbolic echo of the past returning to the present. Asterisk, the trailer begins in silence. Then a soft piano note plays, delicate and haunting. Black fades into light, and the first images we see are the city streets of Beverly Hills, captured in slow motion. Neon signs glow against the darkness, and the world feels both glamorous and lonely. A whispering voiceover carries us back. It was the story of a man and a woman who were never supposed to meet. But destiny had other plans. As the words drift through the soundscape, the visuals are faceless, yet symbolic. A blurred figure in a dark suit steps out of a luxury car, the polished shoe making contact with the sidewalk. Across the street, we see the silhouette of a woman walking slowly, her heels clicking against the pavement. The camera never shows her face, only the gentle sway of her red dress. These echoes are not direct images of Julia Roberts or Richard Gere, but concept silhouettes that carry their presence. The screen shifts into a dreamlike montage, flashes of the old Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Chandeliers glimmering in golden light, elevators sliding open with a soft chime. A hand, delicate and graceful, presses the elevator button. Another hand, masculine and steady, lingers close by. They do not touch, but the distance between them speaks louder than words. The piano grows richer, strings weaving into the melody. The city skyline appears again, this time modern, towering higher than it did 3 decades ago. The world has changed, and so have they. Yet the voiceover reminds us time moves on. Lives change, but some stories are never finished. We see a jewelry store window, diamonds glittering beneath spotless glass. The camera lingers on a velvet box being opened, revealing a ring that catches the light with almost painful beauty. The memory of that famous necklace scene lingers in the audience's mind. But here, it's something different, a new chapter hinted. Not shown then, as the music slows, we hear the faint sound of footsteps echoing in an empty ballroom. The camera moves across the polished floor, the chandeliers reflecting endlessly above. The room feels like a memory waiting to be relived. A soft laugh, distant and almost ghostly, echoes through the space. It is familiar. It is unforgettable. The screen cuts to black for a heartbeat, leaving only the silence. Then, a whisper, over 30 years later. They return. The screen lights up again, revealing the nighttime streets alive with paparazzi flashes. Cameras click, people shout, and a figure shields their face while being rushed through a crowd. Another figure watches from a distance, unseen, their presence heavy with meaning. This is not just about love. It is about life, fame, and choices that never stopped haunting them. The faceless approach works to build mystery, and never revealing, only suggesting. Shadows in hotel windows, reflections in car glass, hands brushing past door frames. Each shot feels like a memory and a possibility at the same time. The music swells as we see a close-up of a red high heel stepping out of a limousine. The moment is iconic, almost identical to the first time we saw her in the original story, but now it feels heavier, more mature, as though time has added layers of meaning to that one step. This time, the world is different, but the heart remembers. The camera pulls upward, showing the expanse of Beverly Hills bathed in golden light, shimmering like a promise waiting to be kept. The section closes with the sound of a single jewelry box snapping shut, sharp and final, as the screen fades to black. Asterisk, a soft violin hum fades in, the notes stretching like threads of memory. The screen glows with the morning sun rising over Los Angeles. Gone are the neon-soaked nights of the Hook. This is daylight, sharp and unflinching. The city is busier now, taller, faster, and louder. Yet beneath the noise, something old and familiar stirs. A long shot shows a limousine sliding through. Beverly Hills, the tinted windows hide the passengers inside. But the car itself feels like a ghost from another time, gliding past modern storefronts and buzzing crowds. The world outside has changed, but the elegance of the car suggests something enduring. The camera cuts to a close-up of the car door opening. A manicured hand, adorned with a subtle silver bracelet, reaches for the handle. Then, a red high heel steps onto the sidewalk. No faces, only symbols, the essence of a woman who once turned the world upside down. The crowd notices. Paparazzi flashbulbs explode like fireworks, but the camera does not linger on the chaos. Instead, it focuses on the detail, the slow lift of her heel, the rhythm of her steps, the shine of her dress brushing against the pavement. The voiceover returns, hushed yet steady. She built a life, a family, a name. But no matter how far she traveled, some places call you back. The visuals shift. Tall glass towers reflect the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, still standing like a monument to another era. Its facade gleams, untouched by time, yet filled with memories the audience cannot forget. An elevator door opens with a soft ding. A man's hand, wearing a watch of polished steel, slides into view. He steps in. We never see his face. His presence alone carries weight. The pacing slows as the music changes, piano notes trickling in once again. Softer this time, almost hesitant. We see fragments. A charity gala invitation sliding across a table. A hotel lobby buzzing with people. The shimmer of a ballroom chandelier being prepared for an evening event. A staff member adjusts chairs, pours champagne into waiting glasses. The world is ready for something important, though no one dares say what. Then, the screen cuts to a single, intimate image. A red dress swaying on a hanger. Sunlight filters through sheer curtains, casting its shadow across the room. This is not the dress of youth, but of return, more elegant, more powerful. A story in fabric. The camera lingers on the detail of the fabric brushing gently in the air. The voiceover deepens, weighted with time. He never forgot her. Not the way she laughed. Not the way she changed everything he thought he knew. A montage begins. A man standing alone at a high-rise window. His figure reflected in the glass as the city stretches beneath him. His hand resting on a wedding band lying flat on a desk. A newspaper headline about business expansion, wealth, and legacy. His shadow moving through a quiet office, larger than life, yet undeniably alone. The music sharpens, building tension. The images become quicker, flashes of two lives running parallel, her world of red carpets, flashing cameras, and whispered gossip. His world of boardrooms, negotiations, and endless skyscrapers. Two separate lives, moving at full speed. But haunted by the same memory, the screen fades to black for a beat before the voiceover whispers again. Now, after all these years, the city brings them back together. The audience sees two hands brushing past the same hotel doorframe, not touching, not yet. A pause. Then the sound of laughter, distant, almost forgotten, like a memory breaking through silence. The section ends with a slow pullback of the Beverly Wilshire sign, glimmering in the daylight as the orchestral score swells, promising that something long buried is about to rise again. Asterisk, the music shifts, no longer soft and nostalgic, but sharper, layered with strings and faint percussion, like a heartbeat under pressure. The city's glamour fades into something heavier. The lights of Beverly Hills blur into rain-streaked windows, where reflections distort and bend. We sense that the reunion is not only about love, it's about everything time has taken and everything still left unresolved. A jewelry store window glimmers under fluorescent light. A velvet ring box is slowly closed, the click echoing too loudly in the silence. The camera lingers on the shop glass as rain begins to streak down its surface, distorting the diamonds inside. This isn't about wealth. It's about choices, sacrifices, and what those glittering objects truly cost. The voiceover returns, more fragile now, once they found each other against the odds. But life has a way of testing what we hold dearest. The screen shifts quickly to a series of faceless yet intimate images. A man sitting alone at a dinner table, a single glass of wine untouched across from him. A woman receiving a letter, her hands trembling as she unfolds it. A pair of hands hers, and is almost touching across a cab door, only to retreat. The music rises, pushing the tension higher. We see flashes of the outside world intruding on their fragile connection. Paparazzi cameras exploding like thunder in the night. A press conference where microphones crowd the podium, faceless reporters shouting questions. The woman shielding her face as she hurries through the chaos, the man turning away from a crowd of investors. His shoulders heavy under expectation. The trailer does not show arguments directly. Instead, it reveals the distance in metaphors. A chandelier sways slightly in an empty ballroom, its crystals scattering fractured light. A door slams shut in slow motion, echoing through a long hallway. A half-torn letter drifts to the floor, its pieces scattering apart. The voiceover grows more intense, layered with emotion. What happens when love is caught between the weight of the past and the demands of the present? The imagery becomes more fragmented, the cuts faster. A hotel elevator ascending, the numbers ticking upward. A phone ringing in a quiet apartment, unanswered. A candlelit dinner for two with one chair left empty. A wedding ring being spun restlessly on a polished desk. The audience feels the strain. These two people are drawn together by memory. But every frame reminds us of what could pull them apart. Fame, family, responsibility, and the scars left by decades of separate lives then. The sound design changes. The music softens for a moment, leaving only a single piano key echoing like a heartbeat. The visuals slow, returning to intimacy. A woman staring out of a rain-streaked window. A man standing across the street, his silhouette blurred by passing cars. Their eyes never shone, but their presence undeniable. The voiceover, almost whispered, two souls, once fearless, must decide if love can survive the years that kept them apart. The screen fades into darkness, and then a sudden burst of imagery crashes in faster, sharper, louder. A red carpet, cameras flashing wildly. A boardroom, a contract signed with a heavy pen stroke. A ballroom door thrown open, light flooding inside. A close-up of two hands reaching in desperation, fingers brushing. Before the image cuts out, the music crescendos, the strings clashing with a heartbeat rhythm. Just before the tension overwhelms, the sound drops, leaving a moment of silence. Then, in that silence, the faint sound of a laugh, familiar, fragile, unforgettable. The screen goes black. White letters appear, some love stories are not finished. Asterisk, the silence after the last whisper lingers, heavy and deliberate. Then, a single note of cello begins, low and trembling like the pull of something unresolved. The screen lights up with a close-up, a dinner table set for two, candles flickering, crystal glasses glimmer, silverware polished, everything prepared for a night that promises intimacy. Yet the seat across the table remains empty. The camera lingers on the untouched chair, the flame of the candle bending slightly. As though searching for someone not there, the voiceover enters. Softer now, like a secret being confessed. Sometimes, the greatest distance is not measured in miles, but in silence. The visuals shift quickly, not in chaos, but in aching rhythm. A letter lies half-folded, its words unread, its meaning hidden. A pair of hands reach for one another across a crowded room, almost touching before the crowd swallows them apart. A red dress sways gently on a hanger in the dim light of a hotel suite. The shadow stretching across the wall like a memory waiting to be worn. The music begins to rise, adding strings and faint percussion, each note like a heartbeat. We see the man, his silhouette framed against the city's skyline, his hand resting against a window as though the glass itself keeps him from reaching what he wants. We see the woman, her shadow stretched across a hotel corridor, pausing at a door, her hand trembling as she hovers above the handle. Neither face is revealed, yet their presence fills every frame. The pace quickens. A montage unfurls. the jewelry box snapping shut, sharp and final. A flash of cameras as a limousine door closes. A ballroom filled with people turning to look as a door swings open, a champagne glass shattering on the marble floor. Sparkling shards scattering in every direction. The music swells into something urgent. The camera races through moments that feel like confessions left unsaid. A letter torn in half. A pair of eyes glimpsed only through a rearview mirror. The empty seat at the candlelit dinner flickering again, as though time itself loops back. Then the score softens unexpectedly, stripping everything down to a single piano melody. We see intimacy return in fleeting glimpses, two hands brushing past one another in an elevator. A man holding out a single rose, its petals trembling. A woman's hand pausing on the jewelry box, but not opening it. The voiceover. A whisper filled with ache and possibility. What if the story isn't over yet? The final montage crashes in like a storm, no longer gentle but unstoppable. The music is full, orchestral, each beat driving the audience forward. A red dress catching the light of a ballroom chandelier as a faceless figure walks inside. A man turning suddenly in a crowded street, searching for someone just out of frame. A wedding ring spinning on a table, its reflection flashing across the surface before it topples. The jewelry box slamming shut again. Echoing like a door closing, yet the sound overlaps with the opening notes of hopeful strings. Refusing to let it end there, the screen fades to black. Then bold text emerges. Timed with the crash of a final chord. Pretty woman to 2026, the words linger, white against darkness. Then dissolve into the tagline, some love stories never fade. The music ends not in silence, but in a single sustained note like a held breath. Waiting for release. Asterisk, the screen holds its last note in silence. For a moment, everything feels suspended. The city lights, the music, the emotions of two people who once found each other against impossible odds. Then, a deep orchestral swell begins, strings rising like the tide. Slowly, the screen glows again, and the final act of the trailer begins. We see a wide shot of Beverly Hills at night, streets glowing gold under street lamps. Cars rush by, but the camera ignores them. Tilting upward toward the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, standing tall, dignified, unchanged. Its windows shimmer, and for a fleeting second, the reflection of two silhouettes walking side by side appears in the glass. They vanish before their faces are revealed. The voiceover, calm but resolute. They met as strangers. They loved as dreamers. They return. As something more, the visuals shift to fragments of closure, each one a symbol rather than a revelation. A jewelry box closes again, but this time gently without finality, almost like a promise kept. A ballroom chandelier floods the screen with white light, dazzling, overwhelming, as if erasing the distance of years. The red dress, no longer swaying on a hanger, now appears moving through a crowd. The camera captures only the hem brushing the polished floor, never the face above it. A man's hand adjusts his tie in a mirror, but the reflection blurs before the audience can see him clearly. The music rises. Drums joining the strings, building to something triumphant. The world outside them, the press, the business, the noise flashes across the screen in a blur of chaos. Paparazzi cameras fire, reporters shout questions, contracts are signed, glasses clink. Yet between all of that, the trailer cuts back to quieter, more intimate images. A hand placed gently on another's shoulder. Two shadows merging as they walk down a hallway. A faint laugh echoing in an empty room. The voiceover whispers one final line. Some stories are never meant to end, only to begin again. The screen cuts to black. Silence. Then one by one, the words appear in bold white letters. Pretty woman to 2026, the music swells in full four strings. Piano and drums crashing together in a final, breathtaking crescendo. The tagline fades in beneath the title. Some love stories never fade. But before the screen goes completely dark, the trailer adds one last symbolic moment. The sound of a jewelry box snapping shut. Followed immediately by the soft echo of laughter. That unmistakable warm laugh that audiences remember from decades ago. A laugh that promises this story isn't finished. The screen finally fades to black.